Today we'll be reviewing an anime that explores the aspects of society that leave us in despair. Things like hardcore drug abuse, petty crime, the Kardashians, and all the depraved internet porn I know you watch on lonely Friday nights. Today's anime is Sayonara Zetsubou Sensei. Zetsubou Sensei is an interesting mix of dark comedy and satire. The series focuses on Nozomu Itoshiki, a high school teacher of an unnamed high school in Japan. He is deeply pessimistic, sees everything in a negative light, and always keeps a noose on hand in case he decides life just isn't worth living anymore. Interestingly enough, when written horizontally, his name is easily mistaken for the Japanese character Zetsubou, much to his irritation. Thus, his students have nicknamed him Zetsubou Sensei, which roughly translates into Mr. Despair. Each episode has Itoshiki lecturing his class on different aspects of Japanese culture and society, and pointing out why they upset or depress him. It's also important to note that his students are just as or even more neurotic than he is. You have the unnervingly positive Kufuku, the hikikomori shut-in Kiri, the mute cyberbully Meru, the eternally bandaged Abiru, the obsessive stalker Matoi, the by-the-book perfectionist with a psychopathic streak Chiri, the fake foreign exchange student Kairi, the yaoi-obsessed Harumi, the illegal immigrant of unknown origin Maria, and last but not least, Chie. When she's not busy being the best girl, she's the school guidance counselor. And that's just the main cast. Side characters and one-offs are introduced as the show progresses. Wondering why the large female cast? Well, did I mention that this anime is technically a harem? A parody of the genre, to be more precise. Usually in your harem anime, each girl in the harem is there to fulfill a certain niche, or is there because of a particular appeal they have. In Sayonara Zetsubou Sensei, it's the complete opposite. Each girl isn't defined by what makes her appealing, but rather they're defined by their dysfunctions, and the reason they're attracted to their teacher in the first place is probably because he's just as off-kilter as they are. This kind of meta-humor remains constant throughout both seasons, and pretty much every high school comedy trope is lampooned in some way or another. What I liked about the show was how many directions it was able to take this simple premise. The show was very good at choosing an idiom, phrase, or social norm and taking it to its most logical extreme. This usually exposes the absurdity or hypocrisy underlying it. This is especially true in the second season of the anime. While the first season is more dedicated to introducing each character, the second season tackles more abstract concepts and social phenomena like conformity, the romanticization of the past, and the creation of fads. It doesn't take itself that seriously, but it's very detailed in its execution. Underlying each character interaction is a soft or sometimes very harsh criticism on society or people in general. This is not just the comedy that will make you laugh, but also one that will make you occasionally think, which definitely sets it apart from many of today's comedic anime. However, it's pretty clear that a lot of the humor was intended for a Japanese audience, and for that reason, there were times when I felt some of the jokes flew way over my head because of cultural barriers. Additionally, there's not much of a plot to be had here, and if you're someone who can't stand episodic anime, then you might have to sit this one out. The gags used by the anime end up repeating themselves, and in an effort to parody the genres it's trying to poke fun at, it ends up running into the same pitfalls as those other shows. Whether this is inadvertent or not, your guess is as good as mine. Additionally, the wide range of characters the show juggles doesn't receive much development, and sometimes comes off as fairly one-note. Then again, this might be part of the joke. It's kinda hard to tell with Zetsubou Sensei. Zetsubou Sensei was produced by Shaft Studios, and it definitely shows. From the sudden shifts in style to the quirky and artsy visuals, this series definitely stands out. The director of the anime was Shinbo Akiyuki, and it's clear he wasn't afraid to experiment with this one. There's one episode that comes to mind that goes way out of left field with its animation, featuring claymation, stop motion, and some silhouette animation as well. There's also an incredible amount of detail when it comes to the backgrounds. A lot of them are embedded with historical and symbolic significance, and although you might not be able to decipher all of it, it was still very pleasing to look at, not to mention the countless references to the medium thrown in there as well. The character designs are simple, but it's definitely got its own style, and that's what matters. However, in terms of animation, there's a noticeable decline in quality from the first few to later episodes. It's not something too jarring. In fact, the more rigid and sharp style of animation that the anime settles on in some ways complements the way in which each episode is presented as dialogue-heavy segments. But I'd be lying if the shift didn't leave something to be desired given how good the first few episodes looked. The openings for both seasons perfectly capture the craziness you can expect from the show. There was a certain frenetic quality to them that kept me coming back long after watching the anime. Both of them are done by Kenji Otsuki, who also did the ending for the anime adaptation of Welcome to the NHK. I can extend similar praise to the ending themes as well. The rest of the soundtrack is also quite nice and helps accommodate the humor happening on screen. Dramatic, brooding piano pieces are reserved for whenever a character has a nervous breakdown and do a good job of notching up the hamminess when need be, while more light-hearted, laid-back pieces, comprised of brass, wind, and percussion instruments, are interspersed to prevent things from becoming too overbearing and to remind us we're still watching a comedy. So, what do I think about Sayonara Zetsubou Sensei? It's a comedy that has a lot of charm, and what it lacks in plot, it makes up for its striking visual style and humorous social commentary. Now, I hear you asking, doesn't this anime have a third season? And I have two responses to that. One, yes. Yes, there is, my dear non-existent viewer of my non-existent audience. And two, I'm pretty goddamn lazy. So maybe in some distant future I'll get around to making a video about the third season. But until then, this was That Guy No One Knows, and you just watched a VHS review.